What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Pastor Frank, right here, Epic Fellowship Church. It is our Sunday night live. Every first Sunday night and third Sunday night, we come live right here just to kind of talk about all that is happening at the fellowship and in the city of Rocky Mount and surrounding cities. And so it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for letting us come into your home tonight, on your phone, however you're checking us out. For all of you guys over on YouTube, we appreciate you. As you guys come in tonight, make sure that you share this tonight. We got a special guest tonight. I'm so excited about it. But like I said, it is an honor. We never take it for granted when you guys come and rock with us. So we really and truly appreciate it. So let me pray before we get started. We'll do a promo and then we'll be back with our special guests. So let's go. Father, thank you for tonight. Thank you for the power of your spirit. Thank you for the power of your presence. And thank you for pure hearts. Thank you for honest intentions. Thank you for incredible motives that matter in how we serve you and how we serve one another. So many times we boast about serving you, but serving others is the Achilles heel of your people in the kingdom. And we just ask tonight that you will be in the midst of our conversation, in the midst of our dialogue. We just trust and we believe that lives will be touched tonight to see things so clear. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. So look, we're going to hit a promo. We'll be right back. We're going to get into it with my special guest tonight. Let's go.
Epic is this big, bold idea that God has never been wasteful in creation, that everyone, absolutely everyone, no matter their station in life, counts, and everyone has purpose in his overall plan. Epic, empowering people in Christ.
Today is a gift that God is giving you. Step into it.
Embrace it with everything you've got.
Millions didn't make it to today. You did.
That means God is not finished with you yet.
That means purpose is awaiting your action.
Step into it right now.
Pray about it.
Get direction.
Believe the best.
Step into it.
Your uniqueness is perfect for any situation.
Any test, any trial, any challenge. Embrace that uniqueness. Step into it.
Hey, I started saying to my wife last week that even though you're in another room, I could hear that subwoofer over there. Sounds so good. Yeah, sounds so good. But again, also, I just want to thank my wife tonight for being the producer behind the scene, on the wheels of steel, getting it done for us tonight. Again, thank you so much. I cannot wait to return the favor. So tonight, I'm trying to remember exactly how I met this young man. I think he's incredible. I think this dude could be the president of the United States of America. Whenever I talk to him, I say, "What's up, Mr. President?" I really like him. I think he's a powerful young man in our city. He is the councilman for Ward 7 in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and a veteran. And you gotta love him, man, and thank him for his service. So my special guest tonight is Jkelly Walker. Come on up, brother. How are you doing? What's up, man?
Man, I'm extremely honored and humbled for the opportunity. And like you said, since I first met you, man, I always, even as a kid, remembering you back in the day, our Morning Star days, it's a Lily in the Valley days, my with you and your smile, I'll never forget it. So
really, man.
Connect those dots and be back where we are, man. I'm forever grateful for it, and I'm honored to be on the show tonight. So,
man,
hey, man, you know you my guy. So.
You my guy, man. I got nothing but what's Justin Timberlake call it? You know, I got that sunshine, man. Them good vibes. Whenever I see your name, man, I see you smiling on posters and pictures. I see you doing stuff over at Wesleyan College.
Yes,
I
sir.
see you always trying to connect with the people that you serve, and that's a powerful thing, man. Because I know that being a councilman in this city, I grew up in this city, so I came up with when there was Reverend Johnny Thorne,
Yeah.
Reverend Thomas L. Walker. I remember those guys being like councilmen and council people. And I had no idea what that actually meant. But maybe tonight you can enlighten us and help us out. So I'm gonna give you this first question straight off the dome. Here it is. What is the job? What is a councilman and what is the job of a councilman?
So I think it can be defined in so many ways, but one of the main things is service. And I think that's what God has put me on earth to do, is to be a servant here. So that's why I guess it's so humbling and so exciting to be a councilman in this ward. I'm the first one to in 20 years to take this mantle and try to do something different. And you try to meet with the people, meet their needs, and you try to see what ways can not only the ward, but think outside. What ways can we, as the whole city, be better than where we are? How can we continue to drive the car forward? What can we bring here economic wise? What can we do together to just make Rocky Mount the face of the East? And I think we have some plans in place to make that happen. So I think pretty much that's what my job consists of as a councilman, to set policies, enforce codes in certain areas where they haven't been enforced, to make sure the city doesn't lose its value. So, and just be a servant, just help people where they didn't know you could help, or try to connect dots in different ways you can, just with connections that you do have, even outside of being a councilman, just being a human being. It's been rewarding. It's probably been one of the best things I've done.
Really?
Yeah, outside the military, man. I don't know, it's bigger than me. So, and I think each ward has maybe like 7,500 people a ward. So you think and you make decisions for those people in those wards and for the city. So it's a very humbling thing. Growing up here and to come back home and be elected city councilman has been one of the greatest rewards so far in my life. And as we continue on, I'll talk about more how I stepped into this role or what made me.
Definitely, because that's where I wanted to go. I'm like, what in the world possessed you? What were you thinking about when you were like, hey, I'm thinking about being a councilman? People were talking to you. What was it? Was it something you thought about growing up?
Like I said, the church I grew up in, it was always like service. And I remember I always, all my life, wanted to be like three men. I never wanted to make the NBA. I never wanted to. I always just told God, whatever I do in life, I want to be effective. And coming up, I always wanted to be like my dad. I always want to be like Mark Pap. And I always wanted to be like Reverend McCarter. Just the way he loved on people, the way my dad was one of the smartest people with no degree I've ever met. And the same thing with Mark Pap, just the way he always walked in the room and had energy and could light the room up with good energy. How it was if somebody passed and he walked in, he brought good energy.
Gotcha.
And so I always knew, I think I was 9 years old. Al Gore, George Bush was running for president in my social studies class. And so in the social studies class, teacher said, well, Jabars, you're going to be Al Gore. And I think Rod was George Bush. So we would debate and we done a project. And so I wrote on a dream sheet that I always wanted to be a politician, because I knew Hurricane Floyd had just hit Rocky Mount. So my grandma on my dad's stayed in Hillsdale and her house got flooded. So I saw things that she was doing to get people out registered to vote. And we had saw Fred Turner, who was the mayor at the time, come to Hillsdale quite a bit. We saw Helen Gay quite a bit. We saw Bill Clinton fly the plane over going to Princeville. We saw Jim Hunt. And I just always told my grandma, this is something that I want to do. I saw the way they was trying to get resources, the way FEMA came in and really helped my grandma get a trailer, everything she needed until they moved her back into that house, man. I just like, I want to help people that way. So I wrote down on the sheet, I want to be a politician. And now, like I said, at this age I'm at now, I've done everything I wanted to do on that dream sheet. So I just keep living and it keep getting better.
Man, the world has changed, man. I remember coming up and we were thinking about, in my life, I'm talking about before I met Christ or anything, we were thinking about I thought about playing professional baseball because I was really good at baseball. And things like that. I never even thought about being a politician. I didn't know anybody that grew up with me in Weeks Armstrong that thought about being a politician. But as I've grown up as a man, I began to understand that cities, when they're really, really ran well, it's because of good politicians and
Absolutely.
attorneys and judges. You know what I'm saying? All of these things come into place to impact the city. Now, I known, like since I gave my life to Christ, that I was going to be, once I got in there about 19 and started preaching, I knew I was going to pastor some people. But people had talked to me about politics, and I've always said, I'm not a politician. I'm a pastor. And I've always stuck to that. But then just to sit down, talk with you, because the people that came into my sphere of influence were pastors. So I had something that I could look at and see a blueprint, a template. And the funny thing is both of us adore Bishop R.T. McCarter.
Yes, sir.
First father figure I ever had, man.
Yes, sir.
Incredible. So it's like, and then for you to see, like you were mentioning Jim Hunt, I forgot about Jim Hunt.
Yes, sir.
Helen Gay, Fred Turnage, just names that, but you actually saw them. You see what I mean? So it's like, I tell people it's hard for anyone to be what they don't see.
Absolutely.
And you saw that. And that's why you're in the vein that you're in, man. And did you take anything from any of these people that were like, that you try to implement into your day, into your, how you carry yourself as a councilman?
So, like I said, my dad was always a worker. My Uncle Pat was a worker. So Reverend McCarter was a pastor. But I saw his influence when you say Bishop McCarter, the way like GK would come to the church quite often, and he would give an update of what was going on in the district, just how he would stop through Morning Star, but how he would greet the church, how he would make the church feel like he was an approachable person. Like, I'm a councilman, but please ask me what you want to ask me. If I have an answer, I'm going to answer it. If I don't, I get back to you. So that's always, I think, an approach I took from him. And something else I took from Bishop McCarty, he said, whenever you go, you always get in the room, remember the faces. And if you don't see them this time, God willing, you'll see them next time. But remember what they look like, remember their name, and make sure you always introduce yourself. And told me one time, he said, so you keep working at it. He said, you keep going to the table until you don't got to walk to the table no more, and it all manifests. And I've never forgot it. And I think that's probably why I carry this thing with so much honor. Like, no matter how much come my way, I just won't stop waking up every day, my feet hit the ground, putting my shoes on and getting ready. I know it's something out there in the world for me to do. And I juggle many hats at this age. But one thing, God didn't put it on my plate too early. So I thought about, say, running for city council maybe 10 years ago, and I knew I wasn't ready. And I prayed, and God didn't have the vision clear. And it's just more, like I said, I knew when I purchased my home, and the person who had this seat before I retired, I prayed about it, and God made the vision very clear. So I knew what I could do, and that was serve people. You get out and connect dots the best way you can, and the world's gonna talk. And Reverend McCarter, I think me and you talked about this the other day. He told me, he said, dogs don't really just bark at anything. He said, so when the dogs are barking, you know you're doing what you're supposed to do. So they bark, and no matter what, just keep it moving. And I know the dog's barking. I know I'm being effective. And that's my biggest prayer to God most of my life is that, God, no matter where you have me at, if I'm 70, if I'm 50, just let me be effective wherever you got me. If it's meant for me to be the back seat, let me be in the back seat. If it's meant for me to lead, let me lead. And I'm just okay. But one thing I always do, I'm like an owl, always listen, I'm always see. So I'm just fortunate, man. And I think I'm just blessed and having fun. So
yeah, you are, man. And man, you're coming across on this screen so nice right now. Put me in work. And yo, one thing I want to say though is like, because we're going to talk about how pastors and politicians can collaborate. But one thing I notice is that whether a person is going to pastor or be in some type of spiritual leadership or political type leadership, one thing that we all have in common when our hearts are right, is that we love this city.
Yeah.
We love the people, man. It's just like we love them. We don't never like. I don't never look at them and be like, man, why they coming? Why they talking? Why they? I always look at them, man. I get lit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I have a job as far as like pastoring and preaching, because God is saying, take care of my people. And I feel like it's the same thing as a councilman as well. Can you elaborate on your love for the city of Rocky Mount?
So I'm gonna tell you, Pastor Frank, this is a full circle moment. I don't talk about it much. So it takes me back May 17, 2008, and this is very heavy. And it's just a thing I feel free talking to you, because the love I know you have for me. So how I really ended up coming back to Rocky Mount. So it's May 17, 2008, catch a ride home, and I'm 2 weeks away from graduating, and I'm feeling good. I feel this is because nobody on my mom's side, grandkid, I was the first to graduate. On my dad's side, I was the first to ever walk across the stage. So I've been breaking generational curses for a long time. So I'll never forget the day, Pastor Frank, and I get dressed and we go out to a party, and I get in the car with some guys and catch a ride home. And I'm in a truck that was shot 38 times, and I was shot 3 times. So I was shot in my back, come out my shoulder, across my butt tops, cross my leg, and I was shot with an AK-47. So if you look at the stats of being shot with an AK-47, I was 115 pounds at the time, 17 years old. Something's supposed to have been tore. I probably 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna make it, but I survived and nothing tore. So I go to ECU that night and I get airlifted to Pitt, and then so chaplain comes in. And he saw I get there about 11:30 at night, and he tell me, he said, "You're the 5th victim from Rocky Mount today." He said, if you look to the right, the victim was shot. I think we were shot like 27 seconds away from each other, maybe 2 miles apart away from each other. And he was a white chaplain. He looked nothing like me. I had never seen a white pastor pray over me. And he came in, and Pastor Frank, and he told me, he said, whatever you do, he said, write your name down. He said, I'll never forget you. He said, you have a very unique name. What does it mean? If you ever look at what Jabari means, it means the brave one. So I said, I always been the brave one. And he told me, he said, whatever you do, he said, no matter how far you go in life, he said, your mission will be here in Rocky Mount. He said, you won't be able to leave. He said, God's going to send you back to Rocky Mount for a reason. And he said, whatever you do in your military career, you'll go right back there and you'll be a good servant. He said, God got you covered. I never ever forgot it, Pastor Frank. He told me that at 17 years old. So I go off into the army. I go to Afghanistan for a year, something that I just never had thought I would do, because the war started. I was 10 years old, and I'm 19 years old, and I'm out here fighting. I'm nervous and I'm scared, Pastor Frank. But something that God has always put me back. And you find out in life that your plan and God's plan don't really align. But if you keep trusting God, and God will put you right where you need to be. So like I tell people, I've been battle tested. I've been battle tested a lot. But I got the armor on. So I'm like David, I got 4 rocks. I'm coming however you coming. But the thing with it, Pastor Frank, I think there's been a blessing to me going to Afghanistan. We done what they said we could not do. We went to the valley where the number 2 guy on the Taliban list was, and we served there every Friday. We would go into the school and we would read. We wouldn't only read. We would do stuff like get them paper. We would get them ink pens. And Pastor Frank, just to see how that made them feel, something that we take so for granted back home, they were crying and dying for, and it made me so much grateful. So it's never been a time that God hasn't prepared me for the plate he was going to put on my table. So some of my best days was in Afghanistan. 352 days I was there, and I knew when I came back home that I just wanted to serve, and I had to find a way to serve. And so when I came back home, I think 2013, me and TJ Walker had partnered, and we started an all mentor program that we done for years, and we still do today. That was very successful. And so leading up now to the council seat, it was just a different title and a different role, and it was a different capacity to serve people, and a different hat. But it's just been something that I don't know, I've just been equipped to do.
Wow.
And I've been battle tested, like I said. So it's been fun. And I think the mentors like R.T. McCarter equipped me for what was coming.
Yeah. Bishop McCarter had a way of equipping you. And the funny thing, the wild thing that I remember about him, there was this one particular moment when him and I had a conversation, and he was like, I'm gonna tell you something. Now I don't want you to get upset. I don't want you to run away. I don't want you to hide from me. Because if you grow up without a father, you're not used to male presence talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I want you to just listen now. Don't go get all off on your feelings. Then he told me what he needed to say. And I was like, and I walked away from that conversation saying, he knows me that well.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the power of spiritual leadership, having insight into you, not knowing you better than God, but being trusted with your life by God.
Yeah.
To oversee, to shepherd, to pastor, and to speak to you in ways that will help you get over hurdles so that you can become what God is calling you to become. Because most guys will always talk about how, Bishop McCarter had all these sons in the ministry, daughters in the ministry, they out pastoring churches. But people forget, you got some politicians.
Yeah.
There's some lawyers out there that came through that ministry. And so when I came back to Rocky Mount, I was like, I might not be a politician, but I sure can help one.
Yeah.
I might not be a lawyer, but I can help one.
Yeah.
If they'll come, I give them that right heart and them right motives. You know what I'm saying? They can do that, man. So I'm loving your passion tonight. So let's talk about what we talked about. I wanted to ask you some questions, man. So the first thing I'll ask you is, what are some of the key areas where you believe pastors and politicians can collaborate effectively to address the needs of our city?
I think one of the main ways is assess the area that the church could be in, and you can see what the needs are, because you pastor. I think, they still do Bible study on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. You're having church on Sundays, so you know what the community needs. And I think that's a way to go to whoever that council person, that congressman, whoever's in that area, to let them know this is something we need, is housing. I think it's more programs for youth. I think this is a way that we can open the church doors to have more community meetings, to have more conversation. And I think that's most of the thing it is, that I think it can start a way, especially being, say, as an elected official, if you have a church in your area that has these needs and they know what they want. Everybody can complain. Right. Everybody can complain. Too many people come with a solution. Everybody just comes with a complaint. And I think some of the best things to do is just find a way, like you said, to work together, come up with some solutions and make it happen. Because it can happen. It's just, don't always just come with a complaint. Let's come with some solutions too. And I think that's one way that the church and the politician can work together, is to just communicate more, open the church doors. Also, as the council person or the congressperson, the Senate, come into that church and let the people know what's going on your level, what's being pushed, some things that are coming up. This is what to look for. This is some things that we have. This is what the city's offering. This is what the city can do. I think that's the way you can collab and work together on things like that.
Powerful, man. I love it, because you hit on something, and I wanna address it. You talked about anybody can come with a complaint.
Yes, sir.
And I want to tie this into a question here, because most of the time when people deal with leadership, whether it be old leadership, present leadership, or future leadership, one of the things, people look at that leadership through this lens of where they are, and based upon their needs. And sometimes a rising tide has to lift all the boats. You know what I'm saying? Where you can take care of one thing, but it'll take care of everybody that needs that tide to rise. And so you get a lot of complaints. Like, I know for a fact that when I became a pastor, I had never faced as much accusation as I had as a pastor. That when things did not work out for people, it was my fault.
Yeah.
They were gonna find a way to put that blame on my back. And I didn't know that. And so at first I'm like, I'm throwing right hooks, left hooks. I'm picking up, what you mean? I'm picking up the phone. And I know politicians go through the same things. I see the commercials today. I see everything's going on. I know you guys get a lot of blame for a lot of things, because you can't snap your fingers and change everything overnight. So how are you working with old leadership, present leadership? Are you eyeing future leadership that you're trying to collaborate with?
So I think one of the main things is too, I think that like you say, when you say older leadership, just finding a way to listen, but also find a way to bridge the gap too, because you are in leadership. How can we come to a common ground to make a decision that's best for the people?
Yeah.
Because just because I may be new to it doesn't mean that I'm not true to it.
Come on, man.
I think that my heart,
MC Jkelly.
yes, I think sometimes your heart can be so right. Then you can have a decision that's on the table and you have to move with your mind. You can't always make them with your heart. And I think that's one of the main things. And I think sometimes that you don't always have to agree. That I'm not a bad person if I don't agree, if I don't see it under that lens. Like if that's not my perspective, that's what makes the world so great. That is 8.3 billion people on it, and we all don't have the same perspective.
True.
But we can all work together, collaborate together, and get to a common ground to take care of the people who we serve. And I think that's the best way to do it. Communication is just it. And you have to find a way too to know that everything changes.
Yeah.
It changes. But I think communication don't change. And I think it just starts from a conversation, calling, having that conversation, and some uncomfortable conversations. But the more that it's comfortable, nothing's going to grow. Nothing's going to change. So having those uncomfortable conversations, you can't be afraid to have them. But you got to know too that your way is just not always the right way, because Pastor Frank may have a perspective that I can add to my way that make it even better plan or even bigger vision. That my vision is not the only vision that's going to make the train go. That I think it's different people that can collab and work together that makes the plan work and make it great. So,
man, that was brilliant. That was brilliant, man. That was brilliant. Now let me ask you this right here about how do you handle complaint?
It depends. Different things, different ways. Like, so one of the main things I dealt with since I've been the council person, last week made 2 years I've been council person for Ward 7, has been mainly like community code. And most of the complaints be very accurate. And some of them are you can do something about, and some are they technically are legal. You don't like them, but you know, it's just some things that the city just don't have the rights to do. So we try to come to a common ground, and I'll just be honest. I think that's one of the main things too. I think that politics have to get back, just telling the truth, not my truth, but the truth. And I think being in the truth always get you over the top, because a lie is hard to keep up with. If you tell the truth and you just be honest with the people, if you can do it, you can do it. If you can't, you can't, and you'll try your best to do it. I think that's the main thing. So I've been grateful, and so far that I handled the complaints well. Some of them come a lot, but it's been fun to help people. And you know that you have a success rate on being successful on the complaints is good. But most of my complaints in my ward have been about grass and cars in the yard, cars in the streets, 18-wheelers in the parking lot, things like that. Trash cans on the street too long, because people really value their property. And it's been like a joy, Pastor Frank, just to, I don't know, man, this has been a joy. And I tell anybody in the city, and I say this loud, and I say it boldly, I say it very loud, that Ward 7 is the best ward in the city. Just because we do work together. And I say that. And I love it. I love being the councilman here. It's been an honor. It's been fun.
Powerful. That's powerful. Now, we had a chance to talk, and it was absolutely amazing. I remember we were talking about old leadership, new leadership, and I just wanted to drop something real quick. We talked about Moses and Joshua. You remember that? And so we had a chance, and we were talking about it from the standpoint of Moses was the leader that God used to bring the children of Israel out of bondage.
Yes, sir.
And so he was that type of leader, but at the same time, he was also the type of leader that was like, you had the camp of Korah that came up with incredible complaint. You had when he went up to Mount Sinai to get the tablets of stone, when he came back down, man, they had a golden calf. They was wilding out. They doing the stinking leg, everything down there, man. And he broke the tablets. And then, but then you have Joshua that is a different type of leader. And even though Moses is anointed to bring them out, Joshua is anointed as a freedom fighter to bring them in. So when they begin to go in, and he says, we're going to hit Jericho, he said, we're going to march around this place. I don't want to hear no sound.
Everybody be quiet.
Everybody be quiet. I don't even want to hear your animals.
Just
I
keep
want to hear nothing. because it's different in walking out here in this desert and then walking into what this promised land that God has given us. So it's going to be a tighter bottleneck. And I think you represent, and even though I'm older, I represent new types of leadership for our city. We really do, because we appreciate the old. We can collaborate with the present, but we're also always got our eyes peeled out for the future. And, you know, so we're gonna have our time, man, where we're shining, but also our sun will set one day. But may all who come behind us, brother, find us faithful, man.
Yes, sir.
What we were supposed to do, and that's where the rubber hits the road
every time. And I think, Pastor Frank, that's what I tell anybody that, like, you know, I think if I had a Bible story, that's my favorite, it probably would be Jonah, you know, because I've been Jonah. Sometimes I try to run from where God's telling me to go. And if anybody know me in my life, God sends the well quite often. And the wells in my life, 95% of the time, been my mom. And I think people don't really talk. We hear about Jonah, you hear about the well, but we don't really hear how anointed the well really was. Because, you know, Jonah he wasn't listening to God, and everywhere that he went, it was all up in the air. How when the well swallowed him up, and how, you know, God, he was talking to God, and when he spit him out, he put him right where he wanted to be. But the well really was the anointed one. He carried him where he needed to go. And sometimes I think we can be disobedient and we don't really listen to God. And sometimes you can be talking too loud where you can't hear him. And I tell God sometimes I don't mind sitting in the waiting room, because I know you got something greater than my way. So I'm going to trust your way. Even when I can't see you, I'm going to trust you.
Man, let's talk about your mom a little bit, man. You were like, your mom's been like a guiding force for you.
Absolutely. Probably.
Man, I saw a picture of your dad, man. I remember your dad, man.
Yeah. So my dad has always been the one that's just been the calm before the storm. And it's always like, well, son, you'll be all right. Listen to it. Pray about it and move. My mom, you know, she go in the full armor of God. You know, she go get the oil and she talked to God. And, you know, her prayers just mean something different. And you find out in life that tears, God heard the tears a little different. And especially when it's pure, it's from a heart. And mama's never been the type. She always just been the one that's just always could reel me in, but she always let me know that I'm covered. That sometimes you got to go through the storm, but it's going to run out of rain. You just got to go through it. And I don't know. I'm just so fortunate for both of my parents, but it's something about my mom. And Pastor Frank, it's never been a time that I went through something that I did not call her first. Life is tearing me every which way. I remember one time, Pastor Frank, and I was smelling myself. I thought I had made it. I was 13 years old, and I had made the basketball team, and I started texting a girl. I had a girlfriend, and I thought I just had it made. You know, I was living off of her $5 a day lunch money, and she would say something, and I would say something back, and so some people would be like, "You shortening your days," and she would never say that. And it was one of my friends, she was just crying. I got suspended from school, and I'm like, "Well, why are you crying? I just got suspended for 2 days." And she said, "Why must every day you go to school and embarrass me?" She said, "Most importantly, why do you go to school every day and embarrass you?" She said, "I get up every morning when I don't want to. I don't feel like it. It's not about me. It's about you." She said, but I'll sure be glad one day when you wake up and realize that the sacrifice I make, that it'll be a reward on the other side." And she looked, Pastor Frank, and she told me, she said, "The same thing that'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry." And she told me, she said, "But one thing I'll never do, every time I get down on my knees, I always pray for you." It meant something. And it's nothing I feel I can't do. Once my mom stamps it, because I feel she got perfect credit with God. I feel my mom got perfect credit with God. I feel once she stamp it that I can do it. Because I know I got some good credit with him, but mom got perfect credit with him. And her relationship,
she got that 850.
She got that 850, and I'm so grateful for it. And I get on the prayer line quite often. So I know I'll be all right. Mom prayers is definitely works.
It's amazing. It's just amazing, man, to know what you survived, how you've learned, and how God has taught you about kingdom and taught you about service in different ways, and just challenging experiences and understanding exactly what's going on, man. We had a powerful service today, and we were talking about how God allows ordinary people to have incredible encounters with him. And we talked about how Mary is just a little girl that God says, I'm going to bring my son through you. And she has to say, yes, be it unto me according to your word. Wow. And she just has to have this yes to the Lord, even though she doesn't know how it's going to happen. She has to say yes and trust God with the rest. And it's the same thing, man. I think pastors, politicians, we come into cities, and I came down here on a yes. Wow. I hadn't been here in 38 years. Wow. And so I hadn't lived here in 38. Since 88, I hadn't lived here. And so now I'm back here. I'm living here. I'm meeting people all the time, meeting new people every week at church, meeting people out here in these streets. It's crazy, man, what God will do. If you just say yes, all the things you're going to need are taken care of, the people you're supposed to serve. Because, you know, people say, well, aren't you going back down there to pastor your family? I'm like, nah, I'm going down there to pastor who God let hear what they need to hear. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing, man. Like, because 10% of the people going to love you. 10% ain't going to like you. And then, like you say, that 80% in the middle. Yeah. Let them fall where they fall. But just go serve. Just have a yes in your heart. And just to go from there. Let me ask you this question, man. How do you think pastors and city officials can work together to make sure that these underrepresented areas are taken care of? How can we work together? What can we do? Is it the same as you said earlier, just meeting, talking, eating, having conversations, but talking about what's really going on out here?
I think something else too, Pastor Frank. We've been talking a long time. We've been talking a long time. So I think have the conversation, come up with a plan and execute the plan. I think that's just it. Have the conversation, but let's come with some solutions. Not always the complaints. We know what the complaints are. That's why we meeting. Let's come up with a plan, execute it, and let's make it happen. Let's make it make sense. And I think that's what's definitely needed, because the church is very important in the community. And Dick Gregory said something a few years ago. I was in the Army. I heard him speak. I think he was in New Orleans, and he made a statement. He said there's two places that people not running to no more. That's the church and the NAACP. And I think too, but I look around, man, the church is still important, because even with you, the way I have connected with you as a pastor, but I think too, what I like about you is not always you got to preach to me. You listening to me too. And I think that's so good and that's so great. And I don't know, you just be grateful for that, because the church is needed. And I think, like I said, the church see it way more. The politician, the council person can't be everywhere at one time, but the church, you as a pastor, you see that church every Sunday. You see that community all the time. So I think that's another way, just that we can work together and come up with a plan, execute it, get with the members, get with the community, have a community meeting, but come with solutions. Let's put them together, come up with a plan, and make it happen. Change the community, neighborhood by neighborhood, area by area.
Yeah. Can we drill down to Rocky Mountain? Because I see the differences in how people talk at council meetings. I watch some of those videos.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just a lot of strong vocal rhetoric in the sense of frustration. And then if I go online and I see, let's say like if I go to Rocky Mountain Concerned Citizens, I see a lot of written, strong, aggressive, frustrations. And I say, whether they on Edgecombe side or Nash County side, black, white, red, yellow, brown, whatever, they all can't see that what's really at the bottom of what they're saying is some kind of fear.
Yeah.
And I think that fear comes from them wanting what's best for the city, not having all of the tools to articulate that, and needing the wisdom that they can get from their representatives and from people like myself, pastors, because I met a lady today. I just found out that her husband passed 3 months ago. That's a different kind of feeling. You see what I mean? They're not going to be in the city council member meeting talking about my husband passed away 3 months ago, but they'll say that to me or to others at church. So it's like we have these inroads into people that we have to begin to say, you know, Nathan was talking to David. Christ was talking to Herod. Daniel was dealing with who he was dealing with. So it's like it all comes down. There has to be this coupling where spiritual leadership and civic leadership, political leadership couple together to make sure that the city is okay. Remember how Joseph tells Pharaoh has this dream and Joseph interprets the dream. He says it's going to be 7 years of plenty. This is going to be tough. But here's like what you said. Here's the practical plan. Put aside 20% when it's good. We're going to live off of that when it's bad. You see, so it's like people have an insight. That's when the spiritual and the civic really come together to make sure that the city is served and to alleviate anxiety and fears, man, that drive people. Because anytime people feel like it's a little bit of a change, they lose it, man. And what we got to do is say, regulate yourself.
Yeah.
Regulate your emotions right now. You're not going to lose it. We're going to win. We got a strategy to win. Like you said, all that talking, we got to do more work. Let's talk. Yeah. Because it's easy to say the sky's falling. It's Murder Mountain. I'm saying it's not a murder mountain.
Yeah.
Not a murder mountain. It's a good city. It's a good land. We just have to see it right, but we don't see it right when all we hear is a little bit of people running in their fears, man. That aren't regulated because they're not on the ground talking to people. And I don't know if it's us or if it's them. Maybe we're not communicating well. I don't know what it is. But I always tell people, this is a great city. God let me be born here for a reason. I'm going to be here. And when I take my last breath, I'm going to be here. And so it's what it is, man. And we got to be that way. So how do you deal with that, man? Do you see that fear that people have on a daily basis?
You see the fear. But then too, people got to be open to change when the change do happen, but also just get to the truth of what the truth is. Yeah. Because most of the time, if you reached out to city staff or the council person, they give you the correct information, or you can pull public records and see the facts are the facts. But I think sometimes that's what I think it's kind of messed politics up, the misinformation or the mistruth that can be put out. Or people be so quick to attack you and they don't even have the truth. So I think what I'm finding out, Pastor Frank, that when people kicking you and they think they kicking you, the kicker really hurt more than the person that they're kicking. So that's all I ask. Whenever you come or you want to criticize me, just make sure that you have the facts and you standing on your facts. Most of the time, if something's happened, it got to be for the greater good of the community. That is nothing that I'm not going to make a decision that's going to hurt the city. It's for the greater good of how I viewed it. That was my perspective on that issue. But most of the time, no matter how it looks, most of the time the council, I got to say, has agreed to move the needle forward on a lot of things. And I can't really, it's a few things that have happened since I've been on that we just haven't probably all agreed on 7-0 or 6-1. But most of the time we do. It's just trying to get to that place where we can all come to that common ground to agree to get there. So I think everybody's out at different perspectives. And I think some people can take this person's perspective and I'm going to run with this instead of looking at the bigger picture of like, no, I just said what they said. I just said it in a different way. Or I'm trying to say this a different way, but I'm trying to get the same place they're going, but I got to say my perspective. So I think that's the main thing is like, it's just like, just have respect in people's perspective and their view, because it don't mean that it's not right because I don't view it how you view it. So that's the main thing. I think sometimes like with dog, I was pretty clear, or you know, but then sometimes you just got to keep it moving. Everybody's not going. The dog got to bark. That's how you know you're doing something. So they always come back in. And I never thought that advice would be so important at 23 years old, but it's been very important.
Very important. So, man, let's do something. I'm gonna call this. This is something that just came to me while I was listening to you. Let's call this a dream exchange right here.
Oh man.
So, I want to tell you what my dream for the city is. Okay. And I want you to know that I need your help to do it.
Okay.
Then I'd like for you to lay out your dream for the city and tell me how I can help you. Okay. So here's my dream for the city. As a pastor, as a pastor, I would like to see the city become a lighthouse, even more than it is. And I would like for believers to be so caring about this city, so willing to serve in this city, that this city becomes like a seed bed and a foundation that people say, I want to live there. This is one of the greatest cities I've ever encountered in my life. I want, when I leave here, this city to be better than it's ever been before, even if it's by 1 inch, just better. I know I need your help in the sense of letting me know what's going on. Talk to me. Tell me about the future. Tell me about the plans. Tell me about what everybody's thinking about. Tell me what people are talking about. So that way, when I'm crafting whatever it is God is calling me to craft and we're building, I'd like to have some input to help build something that can handle the terrain that's going to have to be ridden over in the city. And so that's how I feel like we can collaborate even more. I don't even think it's as much about coming together to say, hey, we just want to make this a utopia. No, I just want to make it better. I grew up here, man. My mom grew up here. My mom drank out of colored water fountains. You know, my mom was 27 before she could vote, brother. You get what I'm saying? I want to make this city just a beacon, man. She's 87. And now it's like we out of the project. She got her own place. So everybody's doing good. It's 5 of us. Everybody alive. So let's just keep the city growing in a positive direction. I got my wife here from New Orleans, man. You know what I'm saying? We want some flavor in the city. We need some spice in the city. You know what I'm saying? So anything that I can do, I'm willing to help you in any way. And I trust that it'll be the same, man. And we just collaborate and talk. I think we can get things done. What's your dream, bro?
So I think one of my dreams would be probably have one of the best school systems in the state of North Carolina here. I think education is definitely the leading and driving force. And some of the best community colleges. What way can we partner and make Wesleyan University one of the best universities here? What way can we help even like growing up on Edgecombe County side? Like nobody can't tell me it's not no good people on that side of town. But what way can we one day have a target on that side? What way can we bring economic development to that side? What way can we pretty much make it where we can be one Rocky Mount and it's everybody's doing great? And I know, like you said, this is just my dream for Rocky Mount. Because I love this place and I can go anywhere in the world, Pastor Frank. I go anywhere and I travel quite often, but nothing's like home. I can't stay gone longer than 3 or 4 days. I got to come home. I love this place and I don't want nobody to think I love this place. And I don't only just love where I stay, but I love Rocky Mount. I love it all. And Pastor Frank, I go running every morning, at least 5 to 7 miles. That's just a day. And I run anywhere. I run Brant Street. I run in Hillsdale. I run in Belmont. I run in Cloverdale. I go to the projects around. I feel safe. But I want everybody to feel safe. I want it to be where when you look at the stats, Rocky Mount don't have a high crime rate. It's a low crime rate. The neighbors are looking out for neighbors. Kids can be kids. And we can get more youth driven too. We can have where people who do have young kids can go out to different places. You don't have to drive to Raleigh. You don't have to drive to Charlotte. You can have it right here. One day we can have a mini amusement park here. I don't know. My dream for Rocky Mount is just to never stop dreaming.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, Pastor Frank, I know wherever's a dream, it's a nightmare close by.
Come on, man.
So I find out that just to keep dreaming, but keep working at the dream. Don't only dream, but just also work at the dream. And that's what I do every day I wake up. I'm working. What ways can we collaborate and make this place better? Pastor Frank, because if I can know you and you can get a connect to amusement park, I want to connect. Let's bring it here. Whatever side the city can do to drive it here, let's do it here. If it needs land, let's find land. If it needs a water system, let's find a water system. Let's do something to make it better. Let's find better. Let's bring even better paying jobs here, because I think economically we are booming. We have had a big shake. You look, ain't too much came here, major jobs that have left. And I just want Rocky Mount one day to be the face of Eastern North Carolina. I really do believe that. And it's going to happen. That is going to happen. I promise it's going to happen. I really feel it. I'm trusting God on it. That is going to happen.
I can see it.
And you got to just keep working, man. And we're right on the edge of a cliff.
Come on, man.
And I think we just right there. And I think we're getting better. Even as council, like I said, everybody I serve with, I'm honored to serve with. And I wouldn't want to do it with nobody else. I promise I wouldn't. And no matter how nobody else see it, I wouldn't want to go to battle with nobody else but those other 7 men I go to war with. And I'm honored and I'm grateful for. And I think, we do have different perspectives, but the world do. I got a different perspective than my mom, than my dad, and I love them. But my perspective is not their perspective. My dream are not their dreams. But I just think we can get to a common ground and make it happen. So I like that, man. Dream of Rocky Mount, but dream big and do real big. Because when I go to God, I don't go with God with small plans. So I go to God with big plans because he's a big God. He's an almighty God. He's an on-time God. So I just trust him. Even when I can't trace him, I'm going to keep trusting him. So,
oh, boy, you sound like you got some preaching pastor in you, man.
Well, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a preacher and a politician. Pastor Frank, I told them a long time ago, I used to always have a saying that some folks don't need you to preach a sermon. They need you to live one. So I just keep living it in this moment.
That's it.
Until God just ordained me and called me, I'll just keep preaching the way that I preach. And I'm just trusting them because I know Rocky Mount will one day just be the face of the Eastern North Carolina, that every politician that's elected got to come through it from president down and let you know that we're the driving force, economic wise, youth development, school systems booming, that we're booming. We moving as one. And that's just where I'm at. I'm just trusting God and I dream real big. I'm just okay, Pastor Frank, and I'm good, and I'm excited, and I wear this crown very, 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 very humbly, but very loud, and I let them know that we're coming. In my Deion Sanders voice,
we're coming. We're coming, and that's how I feel about the city. So when I see other leaders here just leading, man, it just does something good to me. I just want to keep seeing people grow and build, and I think with guys like you on the council, man, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah,
I still want to see you on Pennsylvania Avenue, though.
I don't know. It could happen. We just keep
old enough to do it.
Yes, sir. So I think just keep going and connecting some more dots, keep doing some good work, building the resume of service. And I think God will put me exactly where he need to be. I can't speed the river up. I can't slow it down. I just be where he wants me to be.
Gotcha.
So that's just
man, how do people connect with you? I know you guys have council meetings all the time. Let us know when a council meeting is so we can all show up, man, just to see what it looks like, the inner workings of our city.
So we have city council meeting the second and fourth Mondays. Second Mondays of the month. Committee of the whole meeting starts at 4:00. City council meeting at 7:00. And the committee of the whole is pretty much where a lot of things are happening. That's what's coming. You got plans, work sessions, pretty much. They coming in briefing us, letting us know when you coming with a plan, this is how it can look. This is the pitch that we're pitching. This is our reason of why. And then, you got the council meeting where you are voting on what's going to happen. And I think a lot of people say, like we'll all vote for the president, but the city council races is very important. And you can call me. My phone number is 252-903-8874.
Wow.
Jabars.walker@yahoo.com. You can get with me, and I always do respond. So less than 24 hours, maybe less than 3. I think I got a 3-hour rule that I'll try to at least get back, email you or call you back, because I think that's what you elected me to do. When I came to ask for your vote, I didn't ask you to come and vote for me next week. I said, can you come today and vote for me? So I think I'll just try to be and I think I'll be everywhere. Yes. So in city council meetings, or you can go to the Facebook page, City of Rocky Mount, the second and fourth Monday. They always put the link on YouTube where you can go to City of Rocky Mount City Council meetings, and they do be live. So you know, always
wow, you know, that was Tanya Weaver, man. When I came up in high school, that was our class president. She big balling, man. She get it done, bro. What's up, Ms. Weaver?
So
yeah, but this is our city. This is our city. So we want to see it be the best that it can be. And that's what it's about. And of course, you guys know how to reach out to us right here at Epic. Just come through. We tell people, I don't even say all that stuff. I mean, I'm like, pull up.
Yeah.
pull up. It's going to be all right. We're going to make room for you.
And I think I'm the same way. I'd rather just pull up and have the conversation, because people can get a different reading of you when they talk to you in person. So you find out. But a lot of times when the dog barking, the dog ain't really had a conversation with you. But that's okay. Everybody's not going to love you, but you keep it moving. I know people always be like, well, why you be so quiet? I'll be like, I done already said my piece. We done already, and you know how you going to vote when you go into council. Man, I think that's a lot of stuff people don't know. But it's not like I'm just quiet. I don't talk. I talk when I need to talk. But most of the time you got to listen. You got to look up certain stuff. But most of the time, decisions are already made before you got to the council chambers. So,
facts.
That's just that.
Facts. And so, man, I really appreciate you being here tonight.
Yes,
you
sir.
are one of the bright lights in our city. Keep shining. Keep running, man. Run on the right side of the street, though. I saw you running on the wrong side of the street one day. But run on the right.
That means I probably was trying to get to the right. I was fighting.
I hope so. You were out by the city lake running. I was like, look at him on the wrong side of the street. I ain't even gonna stop.
Hey, I be flowing with the car sometimes. I just flow however I flow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're an important piece to our city, man. Let all of the people that you work with, that you vote with, that you talk to know that we need this city more than ever.
Yes, sir.
And especially the seniors in this city and the people that are struggling in this city. And some of these neighborhoods, man, they haven't recovered. And I'm trusting that God will help them to recover, and that we can do the spirituals and the practicals together to make sure all of that happens. And to me, I feel like the main thing is that you show up every day for this city. And I get up, my wife and we show up every day for this city. And I know it's going to be a lot to say for that. And I thank God, man, that we had this connection through Bishop McCarter, our family, Cheryl, all of us, man, and Cheryl Taylor, all of us, man. So let's keep building, let's keep growing. And man, I'm gonna pray for you right now because we care about you, man. And Father, we just pray for Javaris. We pray for him, Father. We thank you for keeping your hand on him, giving him wisdom, leading and guiding him, speaking within his heart, showing him the routes to take, the things to do, the people to connect with. Help him, Father. Guide every step. And Father, we lift this city to you, the people of this city. We trust that we know you have a plan for us and that you love us. You have an expected end for us. Help us to understand that we are still a city on the rise and that you have incredible plans for this city. Help us to let it be everything you called it to be, and to be an incredible lighthouse. A lighthouse that can give safety and direction to those that are in dark, turbulent times. We give all of this to you. We honor you and we trust you. And we seal all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. Hey, stay right here, man. Hey, look, all of you that chimed in tonight, I can't get to all of your names, but I will say this. Thank you so much. Please share this. Let everybody know. We're going to put this in a lot of Rocky Mount places so people can see and hear. But I think, man, you just became like the president, man. I think everybody see what I see. Hey, look, man. Hey, look, 2028. Welcome, man.
Hey, Pastor Frank, and like I remember, man, I was little. When I first went into the Army, I had a commander. He had a note on his desk, and it always said, "Not everybody can be famous, not everybody can be a superstar, but everybody can be great." And it's determined by service. And that come from Martin Luther King. And it stood with me, man. That's very important. He said, not everybody can be famous. Not everybody can be a movie star, but everybody can be great. And that's determined by service. So whatever you do, wake up tomorrow and serve your community different. Even if it's nothing but going out, picking up the trash. If it's nothing but going out, just doing something to help somebody. And that's why I go to bed every night. It's two things I tell God every night, Pastor Frank, and I'm okay. I say, God, there's two things I'm searching for. I want to be free and I'm looking for peace. And other than that, I'm okay.
Look at that, man.
I'm all right.
Look at that, man. Living the life, man. Love it. Love it, man.
Also, man, I just want to express gratitude to you. Thank you for having me, man. You could have called anybody, but you called me tonight. And I just want to thank you. And my mom's birthday tomorrow. So I tell her, remind me a happy birthday early. And Pastor Frank, I don't know. She said, you're not going to miss it. I said, I can't miss it. I'm not going to miss it for the world because I think you mean the world to me. And for Epic, you have an awesome pastor, awesome leader, him and your first lady. And it's anything that I can do, the city can do, please let us know. And I know that eyes haven't seen, the ears haven't heard what he's going to do for Epic. Well, Pastor Frank, I think you just receive it. And I think the thing with receiving it is that it's coming and you just claim it and just keep doing the work. Because there's people like me that just think the world of you. But I know it's somebody out there somewhere that's looking for a Pastor Frank. And I hope that they find him. And I hope that they can find it at Epic because I'm grateful for you. And I want to tell you that from my heart. And as we continue to build a relationship, man, you mean a lot to me just because even when you call sometimes just to pick my brain. Or one day you just called, said, just checking on you, man. I pray all is well. And you didn't say much, but that meant the world to me because I was having a day. But it let me know God had sent you to let me know I'm okay. And I'm going to be okay. And I appreciate you a lot, man. So for Epic, I want to thank you for letting your pastor share his time with me and the first lady, man. And like I said before, eyes haven't seen, the ears haven't heard what he's going to do for you. And I'm just excited to see the work.
Boy, you trying to make my eyeballs sweat. All they can tell you, keep rallying for service, looking forward to great things. Oh, man,
yes,
look at that. Let's do it. Let's get it, man.
Yes,
look, Epic, we love y'all. We'll check you out. We stay connected. EpicFC.org. Y'all know all of that. So we out of here. Peace.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Frank Henderson, lead pastor at Epic Fellowship Church.
And I am Lady Yolanda J. Henderson, and we've got some fantastic news to share with you.
We're thrilled to invite you to join us as we experience the love and grace of Christ at our new location,
the Booker T. Washington Community Center at 747 Pennsylvania Avenue, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, 27801. You might be wondering what's Epic all about. Well, let me tell you, Epic is more than just a name. It's an acronym that stands for Empowering People in Christ. We're all about empowering you to live a full life of purpose, faith, and love through Christ.
Our Sunday worship services are not to be missed, and they happen every Sunday at 11 a.m. It's a time for us to come together as a community, worship, learn, and grow together. No matter where you are on your faith journey, we welcome you with open arms.
To learn more about Epic Fellowship Church and stay updated on our events, you can visit our website at www.epicfc.org. You'll find more information about our mission, our values, and how we're dedicated to making a positive impact in Rocky Mount and beyond.
So join us at the Booker T. Washington Community Center, 747 Pennsylvania Avenue, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, 27801. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. We can't wait to meet you and experience the epic journey of faith together.
Remember, this is an invitation to experience Christ like never before. Don't miss out. We'll see you there.
Come and be a part of something extraordinary. Your church experience.